Very good afternoon to honorable dignitary, team members, and dear learners of Center for Distance and Online Education, Chitkara University. I heartily welcome and I'm delighted to have Mr. Pradeep Kumar Sharma, who is an experienced HR professional with demonstrated capability in impacting business, having worked in diverse range of industries, including Human Resources Director India Vena Energy, Human Resources Leader Head for India, Middle East, Turkey, and Africa at Mercer, Human Resources Leader Head Global Operations Shared Services Mercer, Vice President and Head of Human Resources, Tata AIG General Insurance, Head Human Resources for Southeast Asia of Perifety Van Mele. Mr. Pradeep has an MBA in HR from XLRI with over 30 years of work experience in the human resources function. His experience has included working with global corporations in startup and high growth settings. His credentials also include professional certifications in competency assessments and targeted selection, interaction management, quality, and effectiveness. We welcome you, sir. It is
Thank
at
you so much.
it is at all times stimulating to learn as regards new trends and developments in the business world. I want to just share a quote about George Paulo Lehman: the greatest asset of a company is its people. We invite our dignitary to share his experiences on strategic skills aspiring human resources business partners. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. And also a welcome and thank you to all the participants on this online session call. Uh, we are going to talk about the skills required for successful HR business partnering. So I have a short presentation. I will just upload that. Give me a minute. Okay. Are you able to see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Great. So uh, let's begin by a question to all of you. What do you understand by HR business partnering? Human resources business partners, who are they? What is this all about? This is a question to the audience, to the students. No responses? Let me add. So what is the role of human resources? Let me then start with what is the role of the human resources function? What do you think it is? Anybody? Have any of you interacted with, or any of you are part of the human resources functions? I know most of you are in these online programs. I'm sure you would have had some interactions, some brush with the HR people in the companies you worked with. So, repeating my question, what is the role of the human resources function in companies?
Sir, in today's industry, human resources also, like other resources, human is also a resource today.
Very good, Mayor. That's correct. That's
Yes,
correct.
uh,
And
and
what?
and I think the role of human resource is to collect and uh, unite all the other resources to get some production, to get some productive activity, and to make and to run this world. To run this world, any industry, HR is a very great part today.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. You are right. Any other comments? Any other views?
Hello, sir. Arjun here.
Yeah,
Human human resource plays a very vital role in the industry of HR, and it's like to interact with the people and to understand their problems, and with the with empathy and sympathy as well. And you need to understand the people. like thought process and react accordingly with emotional quotient and intelligent quotient as well.
Excellent, Arjun. Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Devanshi also shared her comment saying that HR's work is more around talent acquisition, which is requirement, payroll processing, compliances, etc. Absolutely right, Devanshi. That is true. Okay, so let's look at the role of the HR function. So traditionally, the HR function, as some of you just said, it included these areas, including hiring, inducting people, maintenance of record, attendance and leave records, which is very much a part of your processing of salaries. You need them. HR functions were involved in HR policies. They are also were helping in terms of maintaining discipline, but more so in terms of taking disciplinary action. So अगर एक production floor पे अगर झगड़ा हो गया और there's an indiscipline issue, it would typically come to HR, or an HR person would get involved, and using the policies, compliance processes, they would take the disciplinary action. Then, of course, compliances involves, meeting all the regulatory requirements, including labor laws, etc., employment-related laws, terms and conditions of employment, etc., etc. Another aspect of HR, like I said, discipline, is also handling grievances. So this has been something traditional. So किसी का कोई प्रॉब्लम है, किसी को कुछ चीज़ चाहिए, कोई किसी चीज़ से नाखुश है. So, sometimes the grievance could be vis-a-vis a supervisor, it could be vis-a-vis a colleague, etc. तो ये grievances भी HR के पास आ जाते थे. और कभी कभी grievances थोड़े दूसरे कॉम्प्लिकेटेड भी हो जाते थे. मेरी सैलरी पूरी नहीं मिली, मेरी सैलरी कट गई, ये ज़्यादा क्यों कट गया, मेरा टैक्स ज़्यादा क्यों कट गया, etc., etc. And sometimes when there were changes in policies, payments would change, so people would be unhappy. That's a grievance. And sometimes these grievances are very widespread, and if they are not handled, you also see, unions in organizations. You still see them in, although unions are relatively less, although the unionism is again seeing a bit of a rise lately, but the unions in manufacturing setups particularly, they raise demands, they sometimes can be militant, etc., etc. So that happens. And then, of course, the other part is handling separations or resignation. Separation में कुछ छोड़ के जाता है, छोड़ के जाने में कोई रिटायर भी हो रहा है, कोई रिजाइन करके जा रहा है, etc. तो उनके जाने के टाइम पे उनके अकाउंट सेटल करना, ये सब चीज़ें HR का एक ट्रेडिशनल फंक्शन हुआ करता था. So this is what HR was known to be. This, over the years, and this is something I'm talking about, this has evolved over the last few decades. HR also started getting involved in performance evaluation, training and development. So evaluation and training and development helps in managing performance. So if you evaluate performance, you get to know the training needs, and you run training programs that helps you in performance. Another important aspect came in was manpower planning. So कितना manpower चाहिए, and what typically was happening was कि manpower जो चाहिए अभी कितना चाहिए, for my current work how much manpower do we need. So companies would work on a immediate need basis, or need on the basis of the immediate future. Typically they would not look at very long term, or even I'll use the word बहुत long term नहीं देखते थे. So उसके साथ साथ HR also would get involved in the people related budgeting. So कंपनी को कितना पैसा बजट करना है सैलरीज के लिए, ओवरऑल पीपल कॉस्ट कितनी होगी, सैलरीज का हमें कितना बजट रखना चाहिए, हमारी हायरिंग में कितनी कॉस्ट आएगी, हमारी कंप्लायंसेस में कितनी कॉस्ट आएगी, अगर कोई हमें एम्प्लॉय वेलफेयर रिलेटेड एक्टिविटीज चलानी है उसकी क्या कॉस्ट है, इन सब का बजटिंग HR करता था. ऑफ कोर्स सैलरीज जो है वो सबसे बड़ी कॉस्ट होती है. सो HR की सबसे बड़ी कॉस्ट इज द पीपल कॉस्ट, और उसके अंदर भी ग्रेजुअली कॉम्पनसेशन एंड बेनिफिट्स में क्रिएटिविटी आने लगी, उसमें भी कुछ प्लानिंग होने लगी कि हम अपना कॉम्पनसेशन एंड बेनिफिट स्ट्रक्चर कैसे प्लान करें। कॉम्पनसेशन बेनिफिट स्ट्रक्चर में प्लान करने की ज़रूरत क्यों आई? क्योंकि कभी टैक्सेस चेंज होते हैं, कभी कॉम्पिटिटर्स चेंज हो रहे हैं, दूसरा आपका कॉम्पिटिटर कुछ नए तरह के बेनिफिट्स देने लग गया, उसने नए तरह के अलाउंसेस उसने देने शुरू किए। सो आपको फाइनली तो यू हैव टू वर्क विद इन योर बजट्स, and so you need to plan for your compensation and benefit structures, etc., then according to the budget. And of course, budgeting is an ongoing exercise, हर साल की जाती है. So accordingly you also keep planning for your compensation and benefits as well. And of course, as part of that is a very important element is the performance linked rewards. Performance linked reward में आपकी नॉर्मली एनुअल इंक्रीजेस भी आती हैं. कंपनीज में अक्सर बोलते हैं तुम्हारा अप्रेजल हो गया, अप्रेजल कैसा मिला, अप्रेजल कैसा हुआ. बेसिकली दैट अप्रेजल हेयर मींस द परफॉर्मेंस लिंक्ड रिवॉर्ड क्या मिला, आपको कितनी इंक्रीमेंट मिली, कितना बोनस मिला, आपको क्या कोई एडिशनल पर्क्स मिल रहे हैं आपको या कंपनी से कुछ नया बेनिफिट है. जैसे कभी कभी होता है अच्छी परफॉर्मेंस है, प्रमोट कर दिया, ठीक है, इसको गाड़ी दे दी, इसको मोटरसाइकिल दे दिया या इसको कार दे दी. सो दैट्स अ पर्क, कंपनी खुद खरीद के एम्प्लॉय को यूज करने के लिए दे रही. सो दैट्स एन एग्जांपल ऑफ पर्क. सो ये सब चीजें typically HR करता था. From what was being done traditionally, eventually this also became the first thing I've shared in the last slide. These continued, and this also came about as part of the role of the HR functions. Now, over a period of time, one of the realizations has happened, well, thanks to some extent management education also, thanks to business leaders and organizations starting to look at things a little more holistically, and most important, market में competition इतना बढ़ गया. और आज आपको अगर मार्केट में compete करना है तो you have to succeed. And eventually, like one of just said, it's the people who make the organization, and it's the people who are a key factor for the success of the organization. So people का और business का, so लोगों का और जो employees हैं उनका और business का success एक दूसरे के साथ linked है. अगर आपके लोग अच्छे होंगे, आपका बिजनेस सक्सेसफुल होगा. मार्केट में जैसे हम कहते हैं कि अगर आपके पास सेटिस्फाइड लॉयल कस्टमर्स है तो आपका बिजनेस ग्रो करेगा. So these are some factors. This is a research based finding, but हम सब समझते हैं very very logic. Okay, so आपके satisfied loyal customers होंगे तो आपको मार्केट में एडवांटेज रहेगा. वो कैसे होगा? अगर आपके एम्प्लॉयज आपके कस्टमर्स के नीड्स को समझेंगे और उसी के हिसाब से काम करेंगे. अगर एम्प्लॉय ही नहीं समझेगा मार्केट की रिक्वायरमेंट, कस्टमर की रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है, तो कंपनी सक्सीड नहीं करेगी. सिमिलरली, अगर कंपनी एक स्ट्रैटेजी फॉलो कर रही है, स्ट्रैटेजीज कुड बी लॉन्ग टर्म, कुड बी मीडियम टर्म, सो उस स्ट्रैटेजी से रिलेटेड जो भी ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हैं, जो भी गोल्स हैं, एम्प्लॉयज नीड टू बी अलाइन टू दैट. उनका जो काम है उस डायरेक्शन में ही होना चाहिए. अगर उस डायरेक्शन में नहीं होगा तो आपकी बिजनेस स्ट्रेटेजी सक्सीड नहीं करेगी, आप उसको इम्प्लीमेंट ही नहीं कर पाओगे. फिर आता है एलिमेंट कल्चर का. आपकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में कल्चर कैसा है? इज इट an ethical culture? Is it a supportive culture? Is there a culture where people are ready to accept change? आज की डेट में रियलिटी है, चेंज is happening very fast. Change is a reality, it will keep happening, but now the reality is change is happening very fast. अब जैसे हम लोग मोबाइल फोन्स यूज करते हैं, अब मोबाइल फोन हम कितने टाइम में चेंज कर लेते हैं. और अब आपने भी ऑब्जर्व किया होगा कि अब जब हम मोबाइल फोन चेंज कर रहे हैं, हम very often we are tempted to go for a new mobile phone because उसमें नए फीचर्स आ रहे हैं, नई फंक्शनैलिटीज आ रही हैं उसके अंदर, वो भी हमें प्रॉम्प्ट करता है. और ये सब चेंजेस आ रहे हैं उस डिवाइसेस में. दिस होल फ्रेमवर्क इज चेंजिंग. अब लेटेस्ट आने लग गया वो फोल्डेबल मोबाइल फोन्स आने हैं, उसको पीपल आर स्टार्टेड टू यूज इट also like a mini computer. So these changes are a reality, they happen. Is your organization having the culture to accept change, also to make change? और change कौन लाता है? चेंज तो आपके एम्प्लॉयज ही लाते हैं. So if your employees will be agreeable to working on those changes, that is what will help you. Otherwise, it will uh, not be successful. Similarly, आपकी कंपनी की लीडरशिप कैसी है? आपके जो कंपनी के टॉप बॉसेस हैं, आपके अलग अलग फंक्शंस के जो लीडर्स हैं वो कैसे हैं, मिडिल लेवल पे आपकी लीडरशिप कैसी है, उस पर बहुत कुछ डिपेंड करता है. I'm reminding of a very common saying कि लोग कंपनियां क्यों छोड़ते हैं. Let me ask you this question. Why do you think people change companies? लोग एक कंपनी को छोड़ के दूसरी कंपनी को क्यों जाते हैं? What is the biggest reason? सबसे बड़ा रीजन आपको क्या लगता है? This is a question to all of you.
Sir, insufficient salary according to the
Okay.
compared to the work.
Okay, that is one. What else? Any other reasons?
Sir, poor
Location.
Location could be another one. Yes. Santosh, you were saying something?
Yeah, unsatisfied work culture.
Unsatisfied work culture. Excellent. That is one aspect. What else?
Sir, social responsibility and security.
Social responsibility, security. Here we are talking about the Maslow's needs hierarchy. हमें एक सोशल कॉन्टेक्स्ट में भी एक रिकग्निशन चाहिए, एक रिस्पेक्ट चाहिए. एब्सोल्युटली. अगर उस कंपनी में काम करने से रिस्पेक्ट नहीं मिलेगी, हमारी सोशल एक्सेप्टेंस नहीं होगी, तो हमारी इज्जत नहीं होगी. वी विल नॉट बी रिस्पेक्टेड इन द सोसाइटी. So very often people leave because of that. Sometimes the company is doing well and company's image takes a big beating. Something happens in the press or some, as they say in English, the shit hits the ceiling and company's image goes for a tumbling. And then फिर लोग भी कहते हैं, among our relatives, रिश्तेदारी में बात होती है, they say, अरे you are working for that bad company or that unethical company, etc. So हमें भी बुरा लगता है. So that's where absolutely correct. That happens. Other reasons? Any other reasons?
sir, that depends upon the leadership of the company. How the people are. How the people
Absolutely. And can you elaborate? Can you elaborate on this leadership aspect?
लीडरशिप एस्पेक्ट लाइक आप मतलब कि किसको आपको एक कहने का मतलब एक फ्रीडम देना चाहिए अपने जूनियर्स को भी. जैसे आपके लीडर्स हैं तो जूनियर्स
Right.
को भी फ्रीडम दीजिए. ट्रस्ट सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है चीज में. टिल द टाइम यू डोंट हैव ट्रस्ट टुवर्ड्स योर जूनियर, टुवर्ड्स द सबऑर्डिनेट, द कंपनी लाइक goes into the death spiral, I would say that.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Okay.
And
So good points.
to overcome with this leadership, I think the big bosses, like to whomsoever are sitting onto the site leadership, or they should rotate every 2 or 3 years, so that एक working culture जो है develop रहे, sustain रहे, वो harm ना हो, if I'm not wrong.
Correct. So interestingly, research has shown many times, this is not just once, different research has shown that one of the biggest factors for people leaving companies is poor leadership, and more importantly, within leadership, when we talk of leadership, the immediate supervisors, immediate managers or immediate function leaders. So लोग अपने लीडर्स के कारण ज्यादा छोड़ते हैं, अपने मैनेजर्स के कारण. मैनेजर भी तो एक लीडर होता है. ही इज लीडिंग अ टीम लीडर हो सकता है, मैनेजर हो सकता है, सीनियर मैनेजर हो सकता है, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट हो सकता है. दे आर ऑल लीडर्स, दे लीड देयर टीम्स. उनका बिहेवियर कैसा है?
Yes, sir.
How are they supporting the culture building in the organization? One of you said, are they trusting people? Is there trust? Are they open in terms of communicating to people, etc., etc.? So absolutely the leadership plays a key role. कंपनी एक स्ट्रैटेजी डिसाइड करती है. टिपिकली स्ट्रैटेजी लीडरशिप डिसाइड करती है. अगर लीडरशिप उसी स्ट्रैटेजी को ठीक से कम्युनिकेट नहीं करेगी, उसको ठीक से इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में सपोर्ट नहीं प्रोवाइड करेगी, तो आपकी स्ट्रैटेजी सक्सेसफुल नहीं होगी. अगर लीडरशिप ही सपोर्ट नहीं करेगी, दे डोंट वॉक द टॉक in terms of having the right culture, you will not be able to build that culture in the organization. So leadership also plays a role. And lastly is talent. But talent here we mean is having the right people for the jobs in the organization. अगर आपके पास talented लोग होंगे, आप अपने काम को जो आपको रिक्वायर्ड है आपके बिजनेस को, उसको आप अच्छे से कर पाओगे, एफिशिएंटली कर पाओगे, कम वेस्टेजेस होंगी, इनोवेशंस भी होंगी, चेंजेस भी होंगे। वो टैलेंटेड लोग आपके काम को ऑन एन ऑन गोइंग बेसिस बढ़ा सकते हैं, कर सकते हैं, एफिशिएंटली कर सकते हैं। एंड दीज आर एस्पेक्ट्स विच विल प्रोवाइड यू कॉम्पिटिटिव एडवांटेज। अगर आपके पास टैलेंटेड लोग हैं और आपके कॉम्पिटिटर के पास आपसे कम टैलेंटेड लोग हैं, तो आपका कॉम्पिटिटिव एडवांटेज मार्केट में ऑटोमेटिकली बन जाता है. So comes back to having the right people. So if you have the right people, it is directly linked to the success of the business. So ये realizations over a period of time आए, and I would say these have become stronger, particularly in the last uh, 30 years. So and gradually this increase, and now these realizations are much stronger. So अब इन रियलिटीज को अगर हम देखते हैं, तो उसके अंदर उसके उसके इन लाइन विद दैट, क्लियरली द एचआर फंक्शन आल्सो नीड्स टू चेंज. इट कैन नो लॉन्गर बी अ एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव और कॉस्ट फंक्शन. जैसे पहले हम कंप्लायंसेस का हायरिंग करते थे, सैलरीज प्रोसेस करते थे, परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेल का प्रोसेस रन कर लिया, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. दोज आर सीन एज एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव फंक्शन कि अरे ये डिपार्टमेंट है, ये तो खर्चा ही करता है, इनकी कॉस्ट है, कंपनी को ये कॉस्ट बियर करनी पड़ती है. ये कोई बिजनेस में क्या वैल्यू ऐड कर रहे हैं. सेल्स मार्केटिंग वाला बोलेगा कि आई एम गेटिंग रेवेन्यू फॉर द कंपनी, आई एम गेटिंग सेल्स फॉर द कंपनी, मनी इज कमिंग इन. एचआर इज नॉट ब्रिंगिंग एनी मनी. एचआर इज ओनली स्पेंडिंग मनी. और साथ साथ हमें बोलते रहते हैं, they keep telling us do this, do that, we should spend money on this. So it's a cost function. So that's a traditional view which was there about HR. And clearly HR needs to transform. HR needs to transform from an administrative role to a strategic role. आपको business के साथ काम करना, if you want to be a business aligned function, you have to be from a cost center, you have to become a value adding function. HR needs to align with the company's vision, mission and business strategy. अक्सर HR बस अपने हिसाब से करता है, बट विजन बिजनेस स्ट्रेटजी के साथ अलाइन नहीं होता है. जो मैं कर रहा हूँ, am I helping in my business strategy? Am I supporting my business? So HR can help in creating strategic advantage. That example I said, having the right people, strategically looking at hiring, getting the right people at the right cost, even paying more if required at times. So HR needs to be questioning business processes. They need to, of course, firstly understand, and they need to question, and then they also need to make changes in the HR processes to start supporting the business in a more effective manner. So these are clearly requirements. So this is where the concept of uh, strategic HR business partnering came in. And one of the stalwarts and one of the gurus of HR businessing partner concepts and theories was Professor Dave Ulrich from the he'd worked in the United States and also in Europe. He'd done a lot of research, and he came up with this model. Very clearly said that in an HR function, there are processes and there are people which you have to run. But then in terms of running your processes and in terms of having people and managing people, you need to have a future and a strategic focus. And at the same time, you also need to have a day-to-day operational focus. आपको day-to-day चीजें तो आपको continue करनी पड़ेंगी. आपको पेरोल भी प्रोसेस करना पड़ेगा, अटेंडेंस पॉलिसीज भी बनानी पड़ेगी, हायरिंग के एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव प्रोसेसेस भी आपको करने पड़ेंगे. बट साथ साथ यू ऑल्सो नीड टू हैव अ फ्यूचर स्ट्रेटेजिक फोकस. एंड he says his theory said that the HR function, within the HR function, you should have strategic HR business partners as well as HR consultants or junior business partners. Here, what is meant is people at the bit of junior, middle level they also play a strategic role in terms of supporting the business. And this is where the concept of HR business partnering came in. And to support your processes, then also came the element of having shared services center. So जैसे आपका पेरोल प्रोसेसिंग है, पेरोल प्रोसेसिंग को आप आपकी अगर बड़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को उसको सेंट्रलाइज एक जगह में कर दो, आज की डेट में टेक्नोलॉजी अवेलेबल है, ऑनलाइन टूल्स अवेलेबल हैं, यू कैन सेव कॉस्ट. And by saving cost, you are saving HR cost. You are saving cost for the organization. You are adding value to the organization. Then the concept of centers of excellence. An example of centers of excellence is strategic compensation and benefits planning. So सिर्फ डे टू डे पेरोल प्रोसेसिंग की यहाँ बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ. कॉम्पेंसेशन बेनिफिट्स को कैसे प्लान करना है, हमारा अप्रोच क्या होनी चाहिए, क्या हमें परफॉर्मेंस बेस्ड compensation and benefits approach रखनी है या हमें एक operational based रखनी है. Similarly, training and development can be a center of excellence. Have a very good strong training and development function, because if you have that, you can train your own people for future roles to support your upcoming, including your ongoing roles in the company. So create centers of excellence, have shared services for your administrative aspects, and then you have strategic HR business partners. These could be your senior people, including your leaders, as well as strategic business partners at middle and junior level. So this is what came about, and this model has got implemented in many organizations now, and many organizations are moving towards this role. So when we talk of strategic HR business partners, including the juniors and the middle level HR business partners, clearly they should be questioning and working on making changes in the organization. Are our processes, are our people processes aligned to a vision, mission, and values of the company? Do we work following the values, our declared values? Values are like हमारे norms का हम किस तरीके से काम करेंगे. Will we work honestly or will we work uh, with dishonest means? So those are values. So are we doing it correctly in line with our values? अगर मेरा value ये है तो हम उसके हिसाब से काम कर रहे हैं. जो हमारे अलग अलग स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं, HR के स्टेक होल्डर्स कौन है? HR के स्टेक होल्डर्स होंगे आपके लीडर्स, आपका CEO, अलग अलग फंक्शंस के लीडर, एंड ऑफ कोर्स your people. So and they are also part of your business in the organization. So they are the ones who are running the business, and each function has a different role. It's not only the sales and marketing people who are getting the revenue, it is also the manufacturing people. If they don't manufacture properly at the right cost, the sales and marketing guys can't sell it. If the production guy or the supply chain guy is not making products with the right quality, with the right specification, the supply chain guy is not procuring materials with the right quality, it will not work. So understanding the business, there are different stakeholders. उनको समझना क्या हमारे जो प्रोसेसेस हैं, particularly people process, हम लोगों को कैसे काम कर रहे हैं. अगर are we encouraging innovation? Are we encouraging a culture where we support innovation, we support quality improvement, we support customer satisfaction? जो कंपनीज कस्टमर सेटिस्फैक्शन सर्वेज करती हैं, ऑनगोइंग सर्वेज चलते हैं. अगर कस्टमर सेटिस्फैक्शन का स्कोर ऊपर नीचे आता है, वो क्लियरली आपके सेल्स के साथ लिंक होता है. सो आर वी इनकरेजिंग प्रोसेस अक्रॉस द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन विच इज हेल्पिंग कस्टमर सेटिस्फैक्शन? वाला सेल्स मार्केटिंग वाला तो सामने he or she is selling the products, but end of the day, behind them, the manufacturing guys are manufacturing. If they are not manufacturing with the right quality, customer is not going to satisfy. The sales marketing guy may run the best campaign, they may run the best selling processes, but still the customer will not be satisfied. So these are realities. And in this whole context today, having an understanding, working together makes important. And what we've also seen is with all this questioning and this realization that people are doing, even organization cultures are changing. So you are seeing in organization structures, you now have roles like a chief information officer, जिसको कभी कभी chief IT officer भी बोलते हैं, chief marketing officer, head of marketing, chief innovation officer is और chief innovation head बोलते हैं, आपका chief of manufacturing, chief of supply chain, chief of finance, and of course you also have the chief of HR, your chief people officer, your head of HR, vice president HR, जो भी title उनका head का है, they are also there, they are part of the organization structure. So very important that HR aligns with that, HR understands processes, HR questions processes, and HR also helps in creating and maintaining the right organization structure. Organization structure कैसा होना है, उसमें कैसे लोग हैं, अगर right लोग होंगे तो वो structure कामयाब होगा, नहीं तो the structure is not going to work. So those aspects are important, and HR has to play a role. And here the HR business partners have a role. And the main idea behind the HR business partners, as I shared in the previous slide, of what Professor Dave Ulrich had proposed in his theory, is you have from a very traditional focus, which is more of HR services oriented, which is more internal, have a business results focus. HR needs to have now a business results focus, कि हम as an HR function अपने business को कैसे support कर रहे हैं. Like the production guy, if he is focused on quality, he will also be supporting the selling of the product. Similarly, if the HR guy is focused on getting the right people in terms of the requirements of the business, that also will tomorrow help in having the customer satisfaction. So uh, that happens. And very important in this is that there are now HR business partner teams, there are HR business partner functions. So people in the businesses, they typically will deal with them. They will talk to them regarding the requirements, requirement of people, hiring, training, problems, etc., etc. And your HR business partners become your single point of contact with your business people who are your internal clients in your company. And HR business partners then need to work on processes, etc., to align with these business needs. So let me take a pause here. So what I'm trying to convey here is that HR function can also be playing a strategic role, an important role. Yes, there will be some administrative aspects for which you can have your shared services setups, which you run effectively, efficiently, at optimal costs. Then you have your centers of excellence. And then on a direct, as a point of contact, you are having your HR business partners who work with people in the business, and you are supporting their business needs. So from a traditional administrative role, cost center role, you can become partners to start supporting business. So this is change. Now some of you amongst you may have interest in the HR function. So uh, you'll understand this, and this will be helpful to you from a future standpoint. But some of you who will have interest in other functions, say a marketing, sales, finance, etc., this is also relevant for you. You should also be encouraging and supporting these changes happening in your organization, because then you will end up having an HR function which will be more supporting, adding value to the business functions, to you guys when you are in HR business, when you are in business roles, etc. So these are changes, these are coming, which are this is already being seen in many companies. You see it more in the multinational companies, including Indian companies also now. Have it look at the If you look at the leading Indian companies, including Reliance and Adani, also they also have these models very clearly in place today. Aditya Birla Group, a large conglomerate in the country, they have implemented this model pretty successfully. And this is a broad framework. Now, titles, etc., can change in the company, but clearly the intent is to move towards HR playing a strategic role as a business partner to the organization. So now let me take a pause and let me encourage you to ask me any questions of what we have spoken about so far. So if you have any questions, please go ahead. If you want clarity on any of this.
No, sir, not yet. We are clear.
Anybody else?
Sir, what I understood is that conclusively the HR business partner plays a role of consultant between employer relations and the organization. Correct?
Absolutely correct. So they play a role of a, they're a single point contact. They play of a role of a consultant to
Which,
advise business people, business leaders on the human resources aspect कि आप अपने लोगों को कैसे मैनेज करो, आपके लोगों में ये प्रॉब्लम है, I have
which
identified these problems, you should be aware of these and you should be working on this, maybe change the working, you need my support, I will provide you support, but this is what I need. Absolutely correct, Arjun. So that is the direction that this is moving towards.
thank you.
And in this, Arjun, just to add to, and for everybody to add to this, this is something which needs to be accepted by everybody in the organization. So the business people also need to understand that HR can add value. Now, when HR says that I have picked up these problems in your team, or this is a problem in the area, that problem could be that people may not be happy with the leader himself. Usi leader se they are unhappy. Okay, or there is some issue in that team. You're making people work, 7 days a 7 days a week, 11 hours a day, 12 hours a, oh, लोगों को problems हो रही हैं, people are burning out. So the HR business partner, through their uh, channels, maturity, etc., if they pick up and they tell the leader कि देखो, if you are doing this you will have problems. Okay, I understand you have a market pressure, but mind you ये ज़्यादा देर नहीं चलेगा. What will happen is, अगर ये आप करोगे, आपका क्वालिटी सफ़र करेगा, आपका कस्टमर सेटिस्फैक्शन स्कोर गिरेगा. दूसरी बात, इनमें से जो आपके अच्छे लोग हैं वो छोड़ के चले जाएंगे. भाई, we live in an open economy today. This is no longer a closed economy. There are
Yes, sir.
opportunities available for people. आप अगर लोगों को ठीक से ट्रीट नहीं करोगे, वो चले जाएंगे. And sometimes HR business partners will give one-on-one advice to leaders कि देखो जी, आपको आपके काम के स्टाइल में थोड़ा सा चेंज चाहिए. ठीक है.
Sir,
सिमिलरली,
yeah. So जैसे
या
अभी nowadays like चलो ये लॉन्ग वर्किंग का स्टे बैक वगैरह ये पुराने इश्यूज हैं.
हाँ,
But आज की मतलब कि what I observed from the past few years, like basically I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm suiting my profile into HR. I'm interested in HR. That is why मैंने आज मैंने ये ऑब्जर्व किया कि जो हमारे जो लीडर्स हैं, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द लीडर्स, आजकल ये जाता है मैसेज एचआर में और बिजनेस पार्टनर्स में. आजकल बड़ा नई टर्मिनोलॉजी निकली है माइक्रो मैनेजमेंट की. दे बिहेव मतलब हर एक सिंगल चेक पे चीज के लिए वो माइक्रो मैनेज करते हैं इंस्टेड ऑफ पुटिंग देयर एफर्ट्स इनटू द प्रोडक्टिविटी और प्रोग्रेसिव माइंडसेट. सो व्हाट आई हैव सीन इन दीस डेज.
right. So yes, as far as this, you brought a very good point, Arjun. This aspect of micromanaging. Micromanaging जो है वो leaders, managers कर सकते हैं अपने team members के साथ. And it is also, by the way, at times also being seen in HR business partner. HR business partner बहुत overzealous हो जाता है. वो ज़्यादा ही super ही ज़्यादा enthusiasm दिखाता है. बहुत ज़्यादा, too much of enthusiasm is not always good. So the HR business partner starts meddling into everything. So they also start getting sort of micromanaging, start advising on every small thing. Somewhere you need to have the balance. Now, I gave you that example of the HR business partner telling the manager that there is a problem in this area. The approach needs to change. These long hours cannot be sustained for too long. I understand you need it, but then make your people happy, compensate them, etc., etc. They can suggest solutions. Similarly, there can be a converse situation. The manager may come to the HR business partner and say, see, I'm having a problem with these 3 people in my team. Out of my team of 12 people, I have a problem with these 3 people. They're not being so productive, and they're making repeated mistakes, and they're not showing interest in the work. So I need your help. The HR business partner He's a business partner. He's a partner to the business. He or she can then support. He or she will then be expected to get into details, understand kya ho raha, why is this person not performing? Is there a skill issue? Is there an attitude issue? और इज देयर अ सपोर्ट इशू? उसके पास वो टूल्स ही नहीं है, उसको उस चीज की ट्रेनिंग ही नहीं है, ठीक है, उसको पॉलिसी ही क्लियर नहीं है. The HR business partner can investigate, and through direct and indirect means can should be able to judge, and then he or she can then support in providing that whatever is the required training, clarity in policy, process, etc., etc., and also tell the manager, you see, this is where the problem is. Don't think that this person is a bad person who his intent is wrong. Sometimes you also discover that there is this one individual, his intent is wrong. He's a damaging individual. HR business partner in that case should say that we should be firing this person. He or she should not be in the team because he or she will then spoil the overall culture of that team. That team spirit gets dented badly. So it's a two-way thing. The business guys also can get support. They should be understanding and appreciating what the HR business partner, and the HR business partner should also be understanding the problems of the business guy vis-a-vis people, and then work on support. So this is a partnership. That's an example of a partnership. You work together with the HR business partners. Okay. Any other comments? Any other questions? Guys, we'll run very quickly because then I just want to leave the last 5 minutes. I know we have overall 1 hour, so if you have no questions, let's then go ahead.
You
Uh,
can.
Okay. So in this whole change, this is a slide which tells you how, you know, the HR function has got segregated into these different roles. So, like I told you, strategic HR business partners, consultants, or junior HR business partners, and what all comes under these centers of excellence. Talent acquisition is clearly now seen as a center of excellence. Talent acquisition is seen as an expertise today. You need the right people. You need to have the right people to do the right recruitment. Manpower planning, you need expertise today in manpower planning. And when manpower in larger companies, you will plan your manpower not for one unit, you will plan manpower across your different businesses, etc. So all these different areas come. And then, of course, in shared services or support areas is or HR operations, which includes record keeping, etc., payroll processing, your HR information systems. These days, you have HR information systems, including now these systems are also have linked apps through which employees and managers can get information also on their mobile phone. So that has started coming in. And then of course compliance team. Compliance is again a very important aspect because आपको legal compliances करनी बहुत जरूरी है. नहीं तो कंपनी में ताले भी लग सकते हैं. Your doors could get locked by the authorities. So your business can be shut. You can be penalized with hefty fines, penalty, and more than that, you may be a good business making good money, but these penalties and prosecutions, they dent your company's image very badly. आपका market में आपकी reputation gets negatively impacted. So compliance is also an area. And by the way, I'll share this. I'll share this slide with you. I'll share with the colleagues, and they will they'll share this. So you can read through this slide. So when we look at the role of the HR business partner, so the HR business partner, he's a strategic partner advisor, like what the examples that I gave you. He's also an emergency responder. We said an HR business partner is a single point contact. तो अगर किसी एरिया में मैनेजर को नीड है, कोई इमरजेंसी है, emergency could be a manager's emergency, could be an employee emergency. So the individual could be should be able to respond and provide help there, deal with these emergencies. Similarly, the HR business partner is also an operations manager. He is not part of the shared services. He's a single point contact. So if you are a HR business partner, say for the marketing function or the sales function, so sales वाला तो आपसे बात करेगा, वो आपकी payroll team से बात नहीं करेगा. So जो operational aspects है, वो भी आप you will support them, of course, working with the back-end team, the shared services team in the background. Similarly, you play a role of an employee mediator. तो जब conflicts होंगे, conflicts can be with the organization, could be between manager and employee, it could be between team members. We all understand sometimes there are political, uh, elements also in companies. Sometimes unions are also political, etc. They meddle in areas, etc. So the HR business partner also plays a role of an employee a mediator. So he will help. He sometimes will moderate between two conflicting parties. So it could be two conflicting employees. There could be a conflict between the manager and the employee itself. So he can also play a role of a mediator and a moderator as well. So that is one of the very important aspects of an HR business partner. Up now, when you look at all this very clearly, within the HR function, these roles are now becoming sought after roles, because clearly in roles ke saath you also get a sense of power, you get a sense, some sense of authority also. But if you want to get that power, you want to get that authority, you should be ready for that. You have to have some requisite skills for it. So ये सब आपका काम है, but उसके लिए you clearly need to have certain skills. So first and foremost is HR business partners should have a good understanding. Sorry, there is a typing error here. Good knowledge and understanding of the fundamental aspects of HR, including talent acquisition, comp and benefit, all the processes, employee relations, laws, etc. So, आपको अगर उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं होगी, नॉलेज नहीं होगी, यू कैन नॉट बी ए गुड बिजनेस पार्टनर. सो HR के एस्पेक्ट्स की नॉलेज और अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज अ मस्ट. Second is business understanding, knowing the fundamentals related to the different functions. आप जिस function के साथ associated है, or also including the link functions, you need to have a good understanding of how these business functions work. What are their challenges? So how can they make changes? What are they working on improvement? And the other aspect around this is that these functions also are changing. Like HR is changing, so are these. In fact, many of these functions are changing even faster, because customer expectations in the market are changing much faster than what was happening earlier. So HR people also need to have an orientation for ongoing learning. In the business functions, क्या हो रहा है? Many times the HR business partners will also get involved in making final decisions in hiring together with the business manager. Recruitment team कैंडिडेट को सोर्स करेगी, उसको उसका शुरू का स्क्रीनिंग प्रोसेसेस करेगी. उसके बाद जब फाइनल इंटरव्यूज होते हैं, वो बिजनेस के लोगों के साथ होते हैं. Many times the business guys, they want the HR business partners sitting with them and interviewing this kind. Now for that, you need to have an understanding of the business. You also need to understand कि इस फंक्शन में मार्केट में क्या हो रहा है. So you have to have an orientation of ongoing. So it's a strategic aspect. Business understanding is a strategic aspect required for an HR business partner. Of course, good communication skills. That is a key element also. So you will be communicating with the employees, with managers, with leaders, also with your backend teams, etc., etc. And clear communication is key. Because if you don't have a key company, if you don't communicate properly, problems will be galore. So that's important. And having strong relationship and trust of stakeholders. So you need to build your stakeholders, your business folks. They should be respecting you. They should be trusting you. You should be the person they should be comfortable going to. If I go to him, he or she will provide me the support, has the knowledge, has the competence to do that. And lastly, this is the HR business partners clearly need to be mature individuals with a decent emotional intelligence level. Emotional intelligence is very important, because in this role, this role also will come with its shares of pressures. You will be dealing with complex set of your stakeholders. Your stakeholders will be your business leaders, your business managers. Your stakeholders also will be your employees in the area for which you are the business partner. And there will be at times challenges. You have to be mediating. Sometimes you have to be solving a sensitive conflict, for example. So you need to have the maturity and emotional intelligence to understand and see things holistically without any bias, etc. So HR business partners And these are key important skills needed to be a successful HR business partner. So, as I said, prerequisite for an HR business partner is having good knowledge and understanding of HR fundamentals. Along with that, with in the with the changing times now, also with the use of technologies coming in HR, knowledge and use of technology, including HR analytics, is now becoming a must. So HR business partners also need to understand, and they need to understand these, and they will also have to use this. So they will also need to, and this applies today to all functions. Analytics is becoming a requirement everywhere. In HR, you will be working on HR analytics. Marketing functions use marketing analytics today. Sales analytics are there. So different tools are. So you need to have knowledge around that. Okay. So in order to be successful and to strengthen HR business partner, HR business partners need to get involved in the business planning process. So that will help them to understand the needs. Apply an analytical approach linking productivity and people analytics. लोगों की what are the requirements of people, where are the productivity issues, etc., etc. So they need to understand it themselves as well, and only then they can advise and support. An HR business partner's objective should be aligning with the business manager's objective. So if the business manager's objective is that I will grow my say production by 20% this year, the HR business partner's objective will be I will be doing A, B, and C things to help my production team to grow production by 20% in this thing. So you will have three steps within that which will support in growing business by 20%. So your goal is aligned uh, to the business goal. So that's a simple example I'm sharing. Then HR business partners need to be open. They should be gathering feedback on an ongoing basis in terms of how they're doing, what are they understanding people roles, are they understanding the people aspects, are they understanding the business leaders, are they supporting them appropriately. Feedback, if there's feedback, only then you can work on ongoing improvement, etc., and taking appropriate action, etc. So these are clearly a need for the HR business partners. And lastly, I said initially that HR analytics is important. I'm not getting into these sheets, these slides. You can please read through them. But HR analytics, talent analytics in HR is supporting HR business, and in the future this is going to support HR business partners more and more, including sharing operating reports with your business partners, etc. Predictive analytics. So predictive analytics with AI is starting coming, including which basically piggybacks on HR analytics. So all these things are going to help him, and these play a role across all functions. And also what is also starting to get realized, like we saw in one of the earlier slides, कि कैसे business and people link है. Even the analytics related to functions and the talent with them, then the correlations are starting to become gradually more and more clearer. And in the future, HR business partners will have to be working on these. And it's not big rocket science. What I say to people is people need to develop that orientation, because talent analytics can help you in some of these. Again, some examples here. How it can help you in your manpower planning, hiring, leadership, employee retention, workplace design, and driving collaboration. So we spoke about how to design an organization structure, etc. So HR analytics can also give you inputs and support in that. The organizations like Google, of course, it's a big IT company. So they moved to this direction where they clearly now state that all people decisions at Google are based on data and analytics. And the world is going to move towards it. Google and Meta, etc., have gone in that direction. But you will see in times, even medium-sized, smaller, larger organizations and other businesses areas will also get into this. So this is a reality. HR business partners need to also understand, and also on an ongoing basis keep developing their skills through ongoing learning, etc. That is what is going to make them successful. So my concluding slide is for with this quote which says HR now needs to be more ambitious for the business. HR should be looking at doing more to support the business? How can business become more successful? What can we do to become better? Because if you do that, if you have that orientation, only then you will become more successful HR business partners. So, with that, I am concluding the slide and I am opening the forum for your questions as well as your comments. In fact, I will encourage some of you to share your experiences and your with your comments. If you've seen some of this already happening in your organizations, etc., please share it. It will be for the benefit of everybody.
Dear participants, thank you all for your attention. We have now come to the question answer segment of the session. Please feel free to ask any questions. You can unmute your mic, or alternatively, you can type in the chat box. Please feel free to ask any questions.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Anu, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Actually, I have a question that like nowadays AI is growing and every work is doing by automation. So, will AI replace HR in future, or which skills do we learn so that we can work accordingly? Because as of now we hear that we should learn the new skills so that we can grow, but if we go for the role of HR, then which skills should we learn so that we can do our job with the confident?
Okay, understood, Anu. So this is one question which is extensively debated, and amongst the HR fraternity, this is clearly one of the fears that people have. Okay, my personal view around this is, and I'm saying this based on some learning, but at the same time, let me be very honest to you that I also sometimes get a bit overwhelmed, sometimes a bit confused with some of the things one hears. But my fundamental belief, and this is something which I say with my experience in HR, is that, see, at the end of the day, people are people. People complexities will remain and they will change in the changing times with changing technologies, newer expectations, newer customer requirements. These will also keep changing till the time artificial intelligence doesn't reach a stage where it starts automated thinking. I'm talking of thinking. Today's artificial intelligence is just using correlation of data, current data. It predicts things based on the current aspects, and it gives you certain guidance and you can then work around it. So I don't think there is that is coming very soon. In fact, in many countries now they're already debating on regulations. They're asking, like for example, it has happened in the US, even in India. There is this new data related laws coming, which is including data privacy and how data can get used, is are coming, which are making these frameworks also relevant, and they will be controlled. So I don't think people should really be scared that jobs are going to go. But at the same time, I will also say that we should proactively learn to start using these AI tools. आजकल हम काम करते हैं चैट जीपीटी, अपना माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का क्या कौन सा है वो, व्हाट इज द माइक्रोसॉफ्ट टूल कॉल्ड,
Copilot.
कोपायलट,
Copilot.
co-pilot, etc. इतना हम लोग extensively use करने लग गए हैं. So and it is providing us help, it is providing us information. But at the same time, हमें कई बार वो डेटा को रीचेक करना पड़ता है. कभी कभी डेटा को हमें कोरिलेट अलग से करना पड़ता है. एंड व्हाट आई माइसेल्फ ऑब्जर्व्ड इज कि जब हम चैट जीपीटी को यूज करते हैं या कोई भी इनमें से टूल्स को यूज करते हैं, इनमें you also need to give the prompts properly. अगर आपने करेक्ट प्रॉम्प्ट नहीं डाला तो आपको आउटकम ठीक नहीं मिलेगा. एंड समटाइम्स इफ योर प्रॉम्प्ट इज नॉट राइट, you may lead into the wrong direction. So it's very important that we understand how this works. We develop the skills to be able to give the right prompts. Artificial intelligence ये अगर आपने यूज करनी है, किस डायरेक्शन में यूज करनी है, कैसा डेटा एनालिटिक्स करना है, उसके प्रॉम्प्ट, उसका एनालिटिक्स आना आपको जरूरी है. ठीक है. हाँ, there is some level of automation coming in, some level of support coming in, and this is going to This is going to be a reality. It'll happen. देखो टेक्नोलॉजी का जो चेंज है that is happening. वो बहुत टाइम से आया जा रहा है. Now let me give you a simple example. See, my first job when I started my career way back in 1989 was with Maruti. Maruti at the factory. And Maruti revolutionized the automobile industry in the company. So Maruti 800 एक vehicle हुआ करता था, आज तो सड़क पे दिखता भी नहीं है. जो मारुति 800 का जो डीलक्स मॉडल आता था, जो कि टॉप एंड मॉडल होता था, उसके अंदर कुछ चीज़ें जो आज की डेट में एक स्टैंडर्ड गिवन है वो नहीं होती थी. ठीक है. अब आपको एग्जांपल देता हूँ उस पर. आज जो हम कार चलाते हैं, and most of you, I'm sure most of you drive, you understand cars. Okay, today's cars are equipped with a rear view camera. जब आप बैक गियर लगाते हो, पीछे की इमेज आने लग जाती है. और अगर कई कार में अगर वो कैमरा नहीं होता, आपके यहाँ पीछे सेंसर लगा होता है. So if there is something behind you, the sensor starts beeping. What is that? That is artificial intelligence technology at play. Now वो जो सेंसर है वो कब बीप करता है? वो आपने जैसे बैक गियर लगाया वो बीप करना नहीं शुरू करता. Only it beeps when you are maybe 2 feet or 6 feet away from that object. If you are more than 6 feet away from that object, it will not beep, right? So it's an inbuilt sort of an artificial intelligence in that. और अब आप सोचिए, आज की डेट में हम में से कितने लोग हैं, और जो खासकर many of you are young, those of you would have learned driving in the recent times, many of you will not will not be comfortable driving if you don't have these gadgets. And I will be honest, now I'm an older man today. I cannot drive my car without these gadgets. If I don't have a rear sensor, if I don't have a rear camera, I feel handicapped. This is an honest admission. Okay, and ये बहुतों के साथ हो रहा है. So it is technology. We have got used to it. We've got adapted. आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस में भी ऐसा ही होने वाला है आगे आगे. एंड इट विल बिकम अ पार्ट ऑफ अस. डरने की जरूरत नहीं है. स्मार्ट थिंग टू डू इज टू लर्न टू लिव विद इट, लर्न टू यूज इट, लर्न टू मेक योर वर्किंग मोर एंड मोर इफेक्टिव एंड प्रोडक्टिव. मुझे नहीं लगता कि इट इज गोइंग टू रिजल्ट इन thousands of job losses etc. जब कंप्यूटर्स आए थे तब तब ये होता था कि यार लॉसेस नहीं होंगे. लेट मी गिव यू अनदर एग्जांपल. सॉरी Dr. Rahul, I'm taking a few minutes, but I want to share this
It's
other example.
perfect, sir. Perfect.
Yeah.
Please carry on.
So I remember way back in this was in the year 1993-94. So as I shared with you, I used to work with Maruti. And in Maruti, in those days, we did not have computers in the offices. Okay, so I I was heading a small department by the time I left, and I had a stenotypist in my team. He used to report to वो मेरी वो stenotyping जो typist था वो मेरे notes वोट सब type करता था, because सब notes अप्रूवल के लिए नोट बनता था. अगर एमडी को अप्रूवल के लिए जाना, सब वैसे जाता था. और उसका एक पूरा प्रोसेस होता था. एक फाइल बनती थी जिसका हम आजकल कहते हैं ना फाइल कल्चर. हमारे जैसे लोग उसको समझते हैं. फाइल बनती थी, एक राइट साइड में पेपर्स होते थे, लेफ्ट साइड में अप्रूवल नोट होता था. उसमें आपको रीजनिंग देनी होती थी. वो एक ग्रीन शीट पे हुआ करता था. ग्रीन शीट में अप्रूवल नोट भेजना पड़ता था. सो ये सब जाता था. और कई बारी हम जैसे फाइल एक नोट हमने जनरेट किया, भेजा. मुझे पता होता था वो जो फाइल है वो अप्रूव होते होते मेरे पास वापस आएगी एक वीक के बाद. बिकॉज मेरे से फाइल जाएगी मेरे बॉस के पास, वो साइन करेंगे, फिर वो अपने बॉस को भेजेंगे जो हमारे फंक्शन के हेड हैं, उनके पास जाएगी. उसके बाद वो शायद फाइनेंस डायरेक्टर के पास जाएगी, वो साइन करेंगे, फिर एमडी साहब के पास जाएगी, फिर एमडी साहब साइन करके उसी रूट से वापस आता है. अगर एमडी साहब ने कोई कमेंट लिख दिया है ना उसके ऊपर, उसी रूट से वो वापस आती थी. ठीक है. इस पूरे प्रोसेस में हफ्ता भी लग जाता था, 10 दिन भी लग जाता था. That was there. Okay. And at that time, Maruti had about 4,000 employees in the factory. And we were 60 people in HR. 60 people in HR. Okay. Anyway, now moving forward, I moved to my next company. और उस टाइम पे that is when computers started coming. हमें भी डर लगा कि क्या होगा. Anyway, computers आए. सबसे पहला हुआ जो आया, I'm using the word हुआ, the biggest scare that I had to also learn was this animal called email. Email was an animal. Yeah, what the hell is this? You had to learn how to write a note. Who do you address to? The concept was similar. Like I would make a note, I am writing it on an email. The, my proposal is attached with it. वो सब आने लगा, ठीक है? And I will go it. And when do I get an approval? Sometimes in 15 minutes, sometimes within the same day. It is not taking me 7 days. So decision making is faster. I can take action faster, and it became a way of life. Many years later, I mean, I've been to Maruti many times. I still continue to have a few friends. Majority of my friends have retired. You can see I'm an old man now, but I've been to the factory, so still have a few friends. So last time I went there, the HR department is a complete transformed department. Every desk has computers. In fact, पहले तो desktop होते थे जब when I had gone sometime earlier. Now everybody has laptops, and they work on that. Has the manpower reduced? Not significantly. There's still about 45 people. But if you look at the overall total function, the role of HR, including the centers of excellence, as I mentioned, the function strength is over 75 today because they have invested in training and development much more. So it's not कि HR function का net headcount कम हुआ, सिर्फ the dynamics has changed, and the reality is that they also have adapted to technology. वहाँ पे भी everybody now works on emails. Those green files and those folders is history now, and this is reality. So life will change. Look at that example of the car and look at this example. Again, it's a simple examples I've deliberately given you, but this will throw you some light that technology is something which can be used to our advantage. We should not be fearing. The people who get afraid of technology, they are more likely to lose. Because it's like, it's like that. I mean, in these times today, there is so much of tension between the India and Pakistan armies, etc. at the border. Whichever army amongst them will get frightened, they're gone. You know this reality. Right? So you don't have to be frightened. Skill yourself, be prepared, handle it. Artificial intelligence, in my view, is not a Hawa. It's not a demon which is coming to take away your jobs. Yes, it will make things different. It will change, and we have to change. So I'll conclude my answer. It's a long answer I've given you to a short question, but I hope it clarifies.
Any other question?
No, sir, but it was a wonderful experience. Uh,
Thank you, sir.
Take it. Thank you
Uh,
so much.
Thank you, sir. It was very informative session covering the entire background of strategic skills for aspiring human resources business partners. On behalf of Center for Distance and Online Education, Chitkara University, we are deeply grateful for the insightful thoughts and encouraging moments shared throughout the session. Your passion has truly enriched the knowledge for all of us. As we conclude this session, let us carry forward the learnings acquired from it. Thank you and have a wonderful evening ahead.